Okay, recording started. Welcome everyone. Welcome to the Jenkins Infrastructure weekly team meeting. Today we are the 10 December 2024. Around the virtual table, we have myself, Damien Duportal. So Jay won't be able to join us today. Mark Waite, Stefan Merle, Bruno Verharten, Kevin Martins. And we have a new... what is the full name I should use for you, Stewie?
Would Stevie be just fine or using full name is compulsory?
Okay,
Thanks.
so welcome. Um, oh, I have a announcement. I think I did a bad copy and paste. Okay, so let's get started with announcements. Last week, the release 2.488 was successfully released. However, we had an hiccup during the Windows packaging step that delayed 1 or 2 hours. So that problem was initially caused by a pull request on Jenkins CI packaging. Um, what that problem underlined? So we reverted immediately the change. Then Alex Earl, who was the author of the change, understood and found the root cause. We cannot immediately add back their pull request because we have a difference in environment between the CI of Jenkins CI packaging and the agent we run on release CI when performing the releases. One is a virtual machine with our Windows Packer template on CI Jenkins IO. And the second is a Windows homemade container template. No, not homemade, it's just a stock .NET image. So that's an opportunity for us to have some help by Alex. Alex is currently working on adding all the necessary SDKs and tools that we use to generate the MSI installer. So they could be on the machine, which means as soon as he is successful in that endeavor, we can start switching from Windows pod to a Windows virtual machine and release CI. That will require a bit of work. We need a credential and stuff, but that will be a good opportunity because we will have the same environment, which will help further contribution on this one.
Well, and is there a chance that it might also be faster to start up a Windows virtual machine than to wait 2 or 3 times before it gets started as a container?
Yes, based on the numbers we have on CI Jenkins IO, it takes 1 to 2 minutes on worst cases to have a working Windows agent on virtual machine, compared to the 20-minute waiting for pulling the image.
Right.
Yes.
So that for me is even if that were the only benefit, Mark Waite would be delighted with that benefit.
Yes, but that benefit only wasn't worth the effort for us until today. Eventually, Daniel Beck could concur that it was making the releases easier, but
Right.
as we saw 2 weeks ago, if we plan ahead, we can warm up the image before the security releases. So in fact, we already had solutions since years, so that will be an optimization. But the root, an important cause here is we want the same environment with the same tooling on both CI for contributors and the hidden private environment in which we release securely. If we have differences, that will only cause mayhem because we might have issues about tools we don't even know if they are there or not. So thanks, Alex, for the huge work here. Stefan, that means thanks for taking care of the pull request of Alex is doing on Packer image because it's a hard one to reproduce and to go on. So yes, the skills of Alex are really useful here, but we need to make them welcome because he doesn't have access. I believe we should soon have something around Alex getting a VPN access and access to Infra CI that might help in the future. And the release, weekly release 2.489 started on time today, so it should be finished in 1 hour and a half. Anything else on the announcement? Because that's the only announcement I get. Nope. Okay, let's have a look at the upcoming calendar then. So next week, Tuesday, 17 December, we will have the weekly 2.490. That should be the last weekly of the year, if I'm not mistaken. or is I'm not totally sure. I don't remember what was the final decision about the break for the weekly.
So final decision, as far as I can tell, hasn't been decided yet. The voices that were heard were me asking the question, Daniel Beck saying, hey, I'm less worried about whether or not we build and more worried about keeping things stable. And then Bjorn Pedersen saying, he recommends that we stop. Thus far, no other voice has said, don't stop. So I think it's very reasonable for us to decide after the completion of this weekly that we'll switch off the weekly for, or no, after completion of next weekly, right? Because we've got one more next week.
Yes, the 2.490.
Right. Okay. So,
Okay.
but I think we can leave the question open. If you want to post a link to the notes, I can paste a link to the conversation into this page so that
Oh, good,
you have a
good
link
point.
to it.
Yeah. Not been. Oh, has not been decided. See conversation in.
You just see conversation, and I'll make it a
Okay.
hyperlink. But
Okay.
I somehow or other I haven't grabbed the notes, the link to the notes. Are
I'm
they?
adding them on the chat
Oh,
room here.
thank you very much. Perfect.
And so the next LTS release is planned for the 8th January 2025, so next year, due to the 2-week release break. That one is sure.
Yes.
We don't have any planned security release. And so we have the following credentials that are going to expire in the upcoming 3 weeks. First, we missed one. There were no calendar issue. I don't remember who and how that token was created, but we had an NPM API token, which is used on Infra CI to publish some components for Gatsby and the Jenkins website.
I'm sorry,
That
but I just checked, but I received an email on the 6th of December and I missed it.
No worries. So that's how I learned about that expiration, that it expires 7. I did it the 8th because I wasn't sure if any release was planned for Chris. So we changed them. Now we have an issue on the calendar issue, so that won't happen anymore for that one.
Great.
It has been renewed, and we have a closed issue on the milestone we are going to close today. On the upcoming credential, we have a few Azure service principles that are going to expire. 18 December, production ones. These free ones are used to deploy the free following website in production. That's Jenkins.io, contributor Jenkins.io, and Infra CI Jenkins.io. It's used for the agent allocation. So we have to renew this free credential on the upcoming week, ideally this milestone. I haven't created issues yet, though. We also have a bunch of Azure Service Principal expiring the 26th December. These are used by all the Terraform projects. That's where Terraform stored the state. And we use one state per project, so project cannot see themselves. Of course, that's a lot of credentials. They are going to expire. We have automatic pull requests. That's another thing to take in account before the 2 weeks break. Again, no issue. I think that's the first step. We should add issue as soon as we are ready to work on it. That's all for me. Stefan, have you seen other credential that could expire or no?
No, I've not seen anything.
So let's have a quick look at the next major event. So as we said, we will have the 2 last week of this year will be release break for LTS for sure. For weekly discussion is currently happening, and we will be in limited availability on the infrastructure team. If you want to meet some contributors, please join us at the FOSDEM and the Jenkins Contributor Summit that will happen 31 January and first weekend of February. That will happen in Brussels in Europe.
But please let us know in advance because we only have 24 people that can fit within the room. And if there is a subject you want to discuss during the summit, there is a subject, a pinned subject on community.jenkins.io. Please add your ideas there. And thanks to the people who already did. Thank you.
And I've proposed a prioritized list of attendees at the Contributor Summit. It's to the governance board, because we're going to use software in the public interest money to fund some of the attendees' travel. And so we've got we have to make some decisions about who's allowed and who's not allowed. And so I've proposed and hope to have an answer by end of this week. The governance board yesterday agreed that they would help with the prioritization, and will finalize by end of this week so that travel can be scheduled next week for people who are traveling. It was an interesting, hard challenge to worry about that. Right now, John Mark Messon, for instance, isn't on the attendee list, even though he lives not far from there. Brunsha Ye is not on the attendee list, even though she's not far from the location.
Well, Jean-Marc, it depends. It can be 7 hours or 30 minutes close to
Right,
the
and I don't know
location,
which
depending on the
one.
weeks.
I don't know which one it is for him. 31st of January.
That will
Right?
be 30 minutes. They will be on there,
Okay.
on the leftovers of the house. Yes.
Great.
Do you have other question on the announcement, upcoming calendars, things to add? Nope. Okay. So let's have a look at the cloud budget. On Azure CDF paid account, we have a forecast at 4.5. We have consumed 1.3. So we are under the line. We see a slight increase, mostly related to the new update center.
So it's not that. I know we had 3 or 4 runs of the plug-in bomb last week in order to get to a release. So that certainly would have increased the expenses on that day.
No, it's only on the Azure sponsorship credits. The SCDF doesn't is unrelated to CI Jenkins IO or bomb builds.
Oh, right. My mistake. Okay, so the consumption was in a different location. Thank you. Okay.
The main source of resource usage here are mostly DNS requests, which are public, and we are billed by the amount of DNS. And since we changed the update center and people are now updating their DNS on the go, we have seen a long-term increase. We also saw a slight increase in our bandwidth output, but it's less than $100. We were counting $100 to $300 more. We are on the lower part, so that's good.
Thank you.
On the Azure sponsorship, the forecast is at 9K, but that's not really a bull forecast. It's too soon. We have consumed almost 3K, so most probably will be at 12K due to the bomb build. However, with Christmas, maybe the forecast is anticipating the Christmas area in which the build will clearly drop. We'll see.
That sounds like a crazy level of intelligence in that predictor.
Oh, AWS does it on DigitalOcean also, so I wouldn't be surprised.
So they look at seasonal patterns.
Yes, exactly.
Wow. Okay.
Intelligence artificial or algorithm, just, man.
Yeah.
Just basic statistics, in fact.
Right, exactly. Just basic statistics, but we can call it artificially intelligent. That's
Yeah,
fine.
exactly.
That way we can do
Because
the hype thing.
exactly
Yes.
because it involves time, and if it involves
Right.
time, that's nightmare. Okay, time on computer is the worst nightmare ever.
Right.
Timestamp better.
Read the RFC about time zone in Java, and you will then cry and stop programming.
Yes.
On DigitalOcean, we need to renew the sponsoring. We are consuming just a bit. Since last year, we asked for 20K and we still have 15K remaining. My proposal will be they just extend the date so we continue using these credits. And we ask them to renew for the whole year 2025. So it's not that much asking for them. We don't ask for new things. We will continue consuming. That leaves us with 15K. we can run a few machines in it. And if we need one day, if we don't have anything left on Azure, neither on AWS, then we can use this as a fallback of the fallback. Any objection on this? We just ask for extension.
None from me. And if they say no, we want a smaller number. Okay, if we ask for 5,000, all right, because 5,000 would still cover the costs that we're doing and give us some working room if we need it.
Exactly. I would have wanted to try to 10K just in case. It's better to have some margin, and it will be half of what we had in the past. On AWS Cloud Bees, so we continue seeing good results for the update center. We have consumed less than $200 this month, and the forecast is as $500 instead of 5 to 6K. So yeah, good. Everything is in the good direction. We haven't increased though on the AWS sponsored account the consumption because we were absolutely busy last week doing network, so we weren't able to create resources for the new CI Jenkins IO. We found the issue, but that's why we don't have a lot of consumption compared to last month. Any question on the cloud budgets? Okay, let's continue. So, what are the tasks that we're able to finish on the previous milestone? We renew 2 tokens. So I created this after doing this because I forgot to do it last week. We added developer permission for Alex, who recently joined the Jenkins board and is working on Jenkins CI packaging, as we said, on the Windows part mainly. So yeah, developer permissions are more than welcome here for him. We fixed an issue regarding the Helm chart releases that were blocked due to a teeny mistake. Thanks, Adrien, for doing most of the analysis. We just have to fix things. I like when a plan comes together. And we added the new elected board members, and we did the cleanup of the GitHub. Thanks, Mark, for raising that issue. Now, work in progress. Yeah, we have a lot of things. I'm gonna take them in the order in which they are here, and I will do triage later when publishing the notes. No, I need a bit of triage, my bad. A bit of update center. So as a reminder, we still have a few issues and hiccups on the update center. Nothing major, nothing serious. Right now, we are going to start decommissioning the old system because we are 10 December. It's been 3 full weeks. We don't see any reason for going back. And we have confirmed that most of the bandwidth was consumed by the update center, which was the initial assumption. The goal was to decorrelate what do we pay for the update center and what do we pay for PKG backend, which is backed by Fastly. The answer is we don't pay a lot for the backend. One of the major things we must do and finish, so both Stefan and I have started working on that, is to add archive Jenkins IO as a fallback of the update center. The goal here for us is to be sure that when we have tiny windows every 3 to 7 minutes, when the mirrors are scanning, we could end on requests that are either 404 responded by mirror bits because the mirror system does not know yet the new file, or the new file is not there in its current and correct expected version on the mirrors. These tiny windows doesn't happen a lot, but they happen and we see them regularly. So adding archive Jenkins IO here will ensure that mirror bits will never answer 404. Instead, it will send requests directly to archive. If we correctly copy data in the right order, that should ensure that the user have the expected version, or worst case, an older version which is 5 minutes old. The amount of errors caused in this case is less than 1/10,000 requests. So it's almost nothing. and we have less errors than we used to have with the former machine. However, the errors we have now are way more visible. That's that's good overall, but a bit frustrating. Um, that's all. And we also need to communicate to Cloudflare numbers. Because they want to check if what we ask for the sponsoring is still sustainable for them, if they still want this. And we also need to make them a bit of publicity because despite the outages they had recently, it's still a lot of data they are serving for us that cost a lot. So we have to thank them. Numbers and blog post. Any question on the update center?
No
Yes, it's
questions
a
from me. That sounds great. Thank you. Thanks very much for
good.
the progress.
Thanks. It's a sneezing-driven meeting. Sorry. Okay, now the next big topic is related to CI Jenkins IO. So CI Jenkins IO, here is the block. I'm gonna separate the block. Yeah, I'm a little slow today. Sorry, folks. So the whole topic is migrating CI Jenkins IO from Azure to AWS so we can start consuming the credits given by AWS for us. The status is we are able to create agents and EKS cluster, and we found the issue was related to a kind of firewall named Network ACL that we tried as a second layer of protection. And it looks like that the internet access from the private agents, both containers and virtual machine, is not working. There were a few, let's say, tuning to do in order to understand this that has been done. So now we are still wondering if we should keep this network ACL, which is slowing us down, or if we should say, okay, we have it, let's finish the teeny part missing. That's the question. We haven't had time to answer that question though, because we had to spend time on the update center and other support tasks. My proposal is that we might want to get rid of the network ACL and continue because we want to move CI Jenkins IO. We never used that thing before, and we already have security groups who are acting as a simpler firewalls, so that most of the Terraform modules does not even propose network ACL. I think I've been a bit too paranoid when trying this one, and given the time it's making us lose, that has been a bad choice I made. So my proposal is, hey, let's consider, okay, that's too much. That's only CI Jenkins IO, it's not that sensitive. So if we have to use network ACL again, that will be if we migrate trusted or cert or any private controller in the future to AWS.
And then we will try to find someone to do it for us. No? Mark, what do you think? Okay, let's use Mark for that. Are you the boss? Do you want me to go up? No? It's good?
Other than that, yeah, we were able to create a virtual machine. So as soon as we have a case cluster created, I will throw a lot of things to Stefan to do, mainly setting up the cluster, the Kubernetes cluster, while I'll finish the work on the agent and controller side.
Yes, perfect.
Are there any questions? I believe that's a good goal for the upcoming milestone to say we have an EKS cluster started, even if not fully set up, an agent that can start and access internet. I think that's a good first milestone. And then we'll see next week if we have other, what will be the next steps.
Great.
Then GeoIP. Stefan, your turn. Can you tell us a bit more about the GeoIP stuff that we had to reopen the issue?
Yes, can you save your voice, please?
Thanks.
So we discovered that the mirror bits were behaving strangely, and it was because they were not able to geolocalize the IPs. In fact, we have two way of thinking here. Either the files were the integrity of the MMD file that I used as databases for the GeoIP were partly copied, or we needed to restart all the mirror bits when we update those files. We decided to go on both way. So I updated the Docker file for the geo IP that we're using to first download those files to the container and then run the script from GeoIP to check if they need updates, and then checking if they needed updates, then to send back those new files, and then run a rollout restart from Kubernetes. So we will copy less, not each time the files, and we will make sure that we got a rollout restart, meaning that if it failed, that will roll back and use the old versions. What else? It's not in production yet. I'm just finished this morning the new Helm chart with the good airbag for the rollout restart. I did make sure to bump the version this time and not to kill every Helm charts. We need to put in production this afternoon or tomorrow. Sorry, Damien, I'm done. You would have to speak again. And the airbag for the Helm charts, yes. Restart.
Okay, thanks, that's clear for me, but I know the subject, so is it clear for you folks? Do you have questions, things to clarify, things to add? Okay, no. So then let's continue. We have a topic opened by Valentin, one of the new board member, about a plugin modernizer tool that we migrated from Jenkins CI to Jenkins Infra organization. And it looks like that the repository permission updater had bugs and missing feature, preventing it to insert or update the proper credential with the proper permission to allow the CD process on that one. Missing feature were because we don't have any project using CD in the Jenkins Infra GitHub organization. So team helped Valentin to implement that one. That was just a missing things.
Yeah, so I see that a new release of Plugin Modernizer tool has just been delivered 19 minutes ago.
Yes.
So does that mean this is actually closed? We're done, or just
Almost. I just
almost?
want Team and Valentin one last set of eyes,
I see.
because one of the bug was a contribution to the RPU that had been rollbacked that was preventing the last element.
I see.
So the missing feature were no token, so 401 unauthorized during the CD process. They implemented it. It should have worked, but it was saying 403. The credential were generated and inserted, but the permission weren't associated to the credential. That has been fixed by rollbacking. I just want to be sure there are no more tasks. At least there are no more things were expected from the Jenkins Infra team for this one.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Fixed. Required work on RPU. So thanks team for the support here. That took care of this. We just had to check different jobs and builds. Okay, which leads me to one topic. So that Jay started, but Jay is having issue. So right now he has still pain in his shoulder and is not able to walk completely. So he started to learn about pipeline library, which is a pre-requirement for this task. The goal is clear for him as per the exchanges we had, and I took time to dig up issues, close or clean up related to monitoring. We have two topics in one. There is one regarding a proposal by team, which is checking using the GitHub API when was the last time the Maven token was updated on the Jenkins Infra test plugin, which we use to test plugin as if we were plugin developers. So that one is a smart idea because that's a, hey, if the token hasn't been updated in the past 3 hours, then we can ring the bell. That's a smart one, and that allows us to test as if we were end users. That's really good.
Right.
So I don't think Jay should be involved on this one, contrary to what I said last week. Jay is expected to work on monitoring the builds of our private instance, which is still needed for many other builds. So that first one can be worked right now. Jay is learning and working on shared library. Smart idea by team. We could implement easily with Datadog and GH API. We just need a token. And I think a deploy key on the repository should be enough. So way better because deploy key can be read-only. That's all for the monitoring. Any question? Okay, so the second one clearly will take some time. It's not an easy one, but it's a good way for us to have Jay starting to work on, as we say, shared library and learning how to improve them. We will need this for different part of the platform. About the platform, we have a few platform support issues. Some are new, some are work in progress, and some are alas dangling. So the build failure with artifact caching proxy in the case of version orange. Even though I disagree with the sense of wanting to go faster by not having to focus on the patch version, I understand, and the user make the effort of explaining their use case, which I think is a good thing. So in any case, it's not expected for having ACP failing for this case. We also had an issue with ACP opened by Darren about bomb build failing with an unusual error. Usually we have a 403 or 50 caused directly by Artifactory. The error message that Darren reported is unexpected and shouldn't happen. So maybe both are related, maybe not. But that's important so we start to take a look on this one. Since these are really annoying and frustrating but not blocking, I tend to propose a priority below AWS CI Jenkins IO and update Jenkins IO.
There's
Particularly,
very few errors in Datadog for the ACP during the full month. There's like 80 of those.
be careful, they might not be marked as error in the logs.
That's what I thought, but no way to find exactly the error.
Date and time.
That
The
was on
the
the,
the
on the
plain
that was on
the,
the on there.
the plain whole date and time. That's why Darren added the full log.
Yeah, I didn't find the exact error message, but I found that plugin and the correct date and almost time.
Besides, I've hinted Bruno earlier this week, and I'm sharing that with you, Mark. I had an idea to help the BOM on short term without having to build something crazy. Having a pipeline in the BOM build that we run on a different distinct job, which will be BOM dependency warm-up or whatever. The goal will be to run only Maven dependency resolve, but for all the cases, all the stages. And that one will run once per hour, once per day. I don't really care. The goal will be to decrease the probability of a new BOM build having to retrieve a lot of elements. Of course, that's not magical because it's a cache, so it's eventually consistent. We have two instances, so maybe the job should run twice, even if it's run robin, so we never know in which instance we will be sent. But at least that will be a way to warm up elements before performing a release. You run the job once, twice, three if you are paranoid like me, and then you trigger your 2 hours long BOM because resolving dependency should be 2 to 10 minutes, and maybe this is worth running before a release. That one should be easy. It will only require us to create the job initially on CI Jenkins IO, but if someone opened the issue with saying the pipeline is here, we have tested the pipeline locally, that should go really quick, and I believe that will help them decreasing the annoyance and frustration of this. For the other one, they already found a solution by disabling ACP. It's a plugin which is not built quite often, so that's acceptable in terms of bandwidth downloaded from Artifactory.
Yeah, so the Maven caching step, we could even, so is the idea then just put it as part of the BOM release process right inside the BOM pipeline so that we do it during the job?
Yes, as a manual step before.
Oh, as a okay, I was just assuming add an additional stage to the release job to the
Oh yeah, that
Jenkins
could be
file and just
automatic.
say, hey, Maven dependency colon, what is it? Go dash offline or some such thing. It's the one where it says, give me them all.
Yep. The goal is not to download them on a local file.
Right.
Of
That
course.
we want the side effect of populating the cache.
Exactly. Exactly. And but you don't want the Maven local the client side cache. We want the ACP intermediate
Yeah,
cache.
that's
Right.
ACP warmer.
Yep.
Yeah, ACP preheat, right? So okay,
That's a good one.
So,
we want
so that one I will run it 5 times in parallel to make sure that the both nodes are up. I mean, I'm not paranoid. That's
that,
good way.
yeah, just well, since it should be low cost to do that, right, to
Yeah,
us because
it's
we're making
ACP.
requests inside our own network. We're inside
Mm.
our own, and it's even a private network, right? We're not, these aren't things, these are things, it's a private network inside the particular cloud provider.
And it's only the download will occur only with the part of the ACP not up to date, so very few. That's the only
Right.
one that we have to pay. It's that bandwidth. So it's,
And at the
and it will
moment
serve
of
everyone.
a release, you are already on the main branch. So the probability that you already ask for the dependency on a pull request is high. So if you run
Yeah.
the warm-up before the release, that should close the gap, most probably. So just running it once and see the results, eventually twice. But yeah, I think getting started with once is a good start, and that's not a time-consuming one.
Okay.
And if it crashes at the first step.
Right, right.
Exactly.
It crashes early for us
Yep.
so
Yeah.
that we haven't run Blue Ocean tests for an hour, as an example.
Ah, my.
Blockchain is still alive. Okay.
Yeah, it is very much so still. Well, okay, it's certainly still being, its tests are being executed every week. Absolutely.
And populating ACP. At the beginning and our manual job. Okay, something else that we discussed while we are on the BOM topic. I asked Bruno to ask all the BOM maintainers to request something. They cannot run manually a build on the main branch. I thought it was because of permission issue on GitHub, but in fact, we don't link a LDAP user connected inside CI Jenkins IO to its corresponding GitHub user. As such, the project is seen maintained by a collection of GitHub user IDs, but we don't have the map. So if you log in with your LDAP account, you don't have the permission that your GitHub account would have. Problem is, Jenkins only manage one realm. So either it's LDAP or it's GitHub. We cannot have both. And that's a problem for them because unless you are an administrator with the current matrix permission, we have the permission set at the Jenkins wide scope. We don't have any easy solution for them. I believe the new method that is used for triggering the BOM build should be described in a helpdesk issue, asking for a solution for that specific use case, the BOM builds and only the BOM builds. I don't remember the details, Mark, but I'm not sure if we could use a project-based matrix only for a job if the top level is matrix. No, okay. So yeah, using the project level will mean revamping all the permission model on CIGO. Yes, okay. Okay, so then second technique. Since they can use GitHub and GitHub workflow, what do you think about having a GitHub workflow which goal would be to trigger the build? A GitHub workflow could have a shared token on service account on CI Jenkins IO. And so you could, any maintainer who have the permission on GitHub could run manually the workflow, not on a commit. It will only be triggered manually. The goal of that GitHub workflow is first checking if the person requesting a build is a maintainer. And if they are, then send a post request to CI Jenkins IO with a hidden token that will trigger the main build in CI Jenkins IO for us. No need to access Jenkins, and we fit on the GitHub permission model without risking the whole CIGO.
So this is in order to allow bomb builds to be launched by a bomb
Yes,
maintainer?
yes.
I appreciate your heroics, I really do, but I think we should just tell the bomb maintainers to keep doing what they're doing, which is edit
Okay,
the cron definition of the job.
okay, fair.
That I just I don't, as I sorry, forgive my being a rebel here, but my thought was, okay, we only do bomb like this once a week, and we have an assigned release lead, and that assigned release lead really wants the job to start on that time frame. If it fails, okay, that they'll reschedule it by changing the cron schedule. It's okay, it's not super convenient, but then again, waiting 2 hours for the release process to run is not super convenient either. And in
Yeah,
terms of
fair.
which is the worst inconvenience, that 2 hour wait dwarfs most any other trivial workaround we have to make people do.
Okay.
Now, the bomb maintainers may push back on me and say, Mark, you're treating us rudely, but
They will vote you as the
Fair.
bomb releaser every week
I
for
mean,
now.
well, and I'm one of the people who has to do this, right? And so it's just for me, I think at least
mhm,
I'm not overly worried about the given the workaround of using the cron schedule. It's okay, yeah, it's not as nice as I'd like, but it's not that bad.
okay. I will add that if we find a way to decrease or remove at all the dependency issue, that problem should not happen because most of the time they need to retrigger a new release because dependency problem.
Right. And if that if we find that we really do need a facility to allow a bomb maintainer to launch a build on ci.jenkins.io, I like your idea of a GitHub action. I think it's a very good idea. It just feels like we've got that for right now at least they're fine. They'll be okay.
Mhm. So that's all on the ACP. Something, do you have anything else to add on this topic?
No.
Cool. Next one, I've reopened the DNF issue. So thanks for the work on the documentation. It looks like the user found a potential solution for us to continue further. In any case, switching to HTTPS is something we should look into. I think we already cooked that problem, and if I search, there might be an help desk about that. So just this alone is a reason to reopen the issue and work on the
Yes.
packaging part.
Yes, absolutely. And the first scenario that the submitter proposed
Mhm.
looks like it's easy to implement, right? The
Yep,
second really does require packaging changes, but even the second is not a bad choice.
absolutely. And it looks like they understood and explained properly the problem they saw during the upgrade pattern. So that's really cool. They did the effort of pointing. That's why also recognizing the legitimacy of their requests, we reopened the issue. We don't
Yeah,
say we will do it right now. However,
right.
that shouldn't be that much the effort. So yeah,
Well, and the fact that the user discovered why they saw the failure and I did not, right? That
yep,
was very, very valuable to realize,
yep,
oh yes, here's this failure mode, and this failure mode is unique to their environment because they just did a Fedora upgrade. And I'm a brand new Fedora user, so I wasn't upgrading anything.
Yep. The only thing I have to say is that the order of their proposal, I would have done the opposite. I would have started by switching the existing URL to HTTPS scheme because we can do it as soon as possible with no
Right.
risk. And the second one need extensive testing and
Yes.
require the first one. So I would have inverted the order. Other than
And
that, I agree.
I think we will invert the order in our implementation, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
So I keep that one in a milestone. We'll see if I have some time. I will be interested on working at least on the first step because that will involve a lot of Puppet stuff, but not only. Yes, the templates are partially done in Puppet and partially done on packaging. We have both.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. All right. I was trying to figure out how Puppet was involved at
And
all.
and since we will have to do things with PKG soon, that's also an opportunity to load things from the tape to my in memory.
Right.
The eldest here in the room, like me, will appreciate the reference to the tape, of course. I explained what tar was meaning to my students last week, and that was a funny moment when they realized. Yes,
So
the tar command.
your students probably don't know what tape even is, do
Exactly.
they? Tape, what's tape? That's
They
stuff
don't
you
even
use
know
to
what the
Yes.
CD-ROM is. So what
right.
what a
You
So
tape?
attach
tar
tape is used to attach
T-A-R,
things to other
exactly.
things, right? I attach papers to papers with tape. What are you talking about? Magnetic tape? Why would it be magnetic? It needs to be sticky. Very good.
One of the students said, but that's a thing that my grandfather used. And I was
Oh,
like, okay,
stop
you're
it.
not going to
Stop it.
pass. You're not
Absolutely.
going to pass, clearly.
Sorry. Never ever use the O word with me again. Never.
So for the culture of everyone, tar means tape,
Archiver.
archive, recorder.
Yep.
And the goal of tar is to align the bits by bunch of 0 and 1. So it's easier to write the correct data on a tape, which is sequential read and write.
Right.
And everyone in the room was like, what? Yes, yes. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to brag, but TCP is 50 years old at least. So
Right.
yeah, on that one, next issue.
So that
Sorry.
was history course of informatics, in fact.
We have a few issues we weren't able to work on. The three, one external user struggling, Infrastats and Maven Central. I haven't heard back from Kosuke. I think that's a topic we will need to discuss between now and the contributor summit.
Yeah, I've got a problem there. So maybe I'm going to ping Kosuke and Andrew directly because it's not that we lived without this for 6 months before. So it's clearly we can live without it. But today I really would like to know how the 2.479.1 and 2.479.2 adoption is going.
Yep,
So
exactly.
it's Spring security. It's not that in general, but at this particular time we really need that data just so that Mark Waite is comfortable that Java 17 adoption is happening, that Spring Security 6 adoption is happening. So but I'll do that separately. That's not something yeah, Damien, you continue your efforts. I'll ping Kosuke myself because of the special nature of this moment in time, right? It's not that there's something generally that this is so urgent, but particularly right now.
And you invite him to join us to the contributor submit?
No, actually I won't. Not at all. No.
No. But we have to also think about the long term. That the process and the machine running on Kosuke basement.
Right.
It's now time for this machine not to run on someone else's basement, please.
No, right. We need to bring this to it's highlighting how important, okay, it is highlighting how important that data is to me
Exactly.
and to other maintainers, that we need to know how people are using, and this is a crucial piece of information for us.
I agree. And finally, we have two issues related to the platform kept up to date. We had that funny one. Sometimes we had pull requests proposing to update AZ copy to the version www.bing.com. Yes, that's weird. Yes, that's unexpected, absolutely. The reason is because until recently, we had to download the binary, and the URL with the version had two versions, a semantic version that we could retrieve from their GitHub repository with tags and releases, and a timestamp in the name of the binary to download, which is unexpected and non-deterministic and written nowhere. So the trick is that we did with Olivier was we we used the permalink for downloading the binary given by Microsoft on their official documentation, and it's a redirection to another location. And we retrieve the location header, and from that we retrieve the version. However, sometimes that permalink doesn't work and redirect to www.bing.com. So when we start parsing this, my regex was so bad that it was not catching any digits, and instead it was catching the host name, which is www.bing.com. So not an update CLI, not an attack, nothing to worry about. It's just set of human mistake on both sides. Right now, I have a proof of concept that I started 2 weeks ago to install AZ copy with the official Linux packages that exist since August this year. Thanks Microsoft for their effort. So using the package means we just get the semantic version and we're done. That's easier to track and less error prone. So almost there. Switching to AZ. If it works as expected, I might ask you, Stefan, to transplant my change from Puppet to Packer image. So that will
Yes,
be changing the provisioning
everywhere,
and
in fact.
we only have two locations in which we use AZ copy. Oh no, right, there are some containers. True.
Yes.
Ubuntu package. Okay. Any question on this one? And finally, Stefan, for you, stage view
Yes.
pipeline.
We decided to try to change the graph view to the new pipeline graph view. I did the change on Infra CI, so it's online. I removed the old one and put the new one, so we have nice graphs if you load it now. And I'm not sure that will be okay for everyone because I feel like we're missing the timing per step, but it's nice though. It's only on Infra CI for now.
I will make it the other way around. Before pushing that change to CI Jenkins IO, I would open an issue on that plugin asking for, is it possible to write on the timing here? Because that's something we had on the old one. I have,
Myself, I
I
would
have,
have both.
I don't want the stage view anymore because it's old, because the only thing are timing, but even the timing is a trap.
Oh,
Because if here, that's a good thing. Here you have a set of parallel or matrix changes inside that top level stage. If you click on it, you are directly sent to, you see you have numerous
yeah.
substages. The stage view matrix view wasn't simplifying the top level stage, showing you times that could be inverted or different from one line to the other. So I really like the simplification here. If you have more details, that's important to hide them because you have already a set of builds. So that means we should have a visual artifact here that shows, hey, this one is not a stage, it's a complex stage. And secondly, what you said, Stefan, having the time for each top level stage could be really a good start and a good add-on here. But I propose we continue like this with Infra CI until end of year to see if we really miss the timing thing.
Okay.
I'm challenging that because I think it should be a way forward to guide the plugin developers.
Yeah, that's a good and something to tell them. Yeah.
And I think we have to change our habits. I'm the first one being shocked when I see that UI. It's habits. We have to change them. So is it okay if we force ourselves to change habits and then we see what we are missing so we can do a testimony and a feedback to the maintainer?
I mean, we will miss the timing, even the full one. because it happened a lot to compare the timing.
So theoretically, when you
Yeah,
run
you
a
have to click
build,
on each of them.
no, there is a ton. Oh no, it's not there. There is a way on the build pages. Yeah, see, the took 1 minute 90 seconds is a permalink is changed from text to permalink as soon as the build finishes, whatever state it has. And if you click on it, you have a page, a permalink with a page with a trend.
Well,
That's the one. Yep.
you know where
Sorry, go ahead.
that build trend page is available from the builds line. So on your left-hand side, builds, and then there are three dots. So left bar about halfway down, three dots to the right of it is an expanding thing. Click that. No, not the Atom feed, one more to the right.
Ah, this one?
That's the thing that gives you build time trend.
Oh,
Oh,
I just learned. Thanks, Mark. I wasn't.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
this is Darren and Mark talking to each other during a what's new and explaining we're all going to have to retrain muscle memory, right? It's
Good.
it's like,
yeah.
oops, yeah, you know, the build history trend is now there, and it's
So
actually
that's
very,
good.
very nice.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah,
a
I agree.
much better layout. If this
Absolutely.
is because now if you need the console log, it's right there, direct link in the
Yes.
table. So the
Oh,
console icon on the far right is a directly clickable link to the console output. Now that's the full console output, not the stages, but yeah, very, very much that thing is the build time trend. If top level trend is what you need and not individual stage times.
if these columns could be added on the graph view here, that would be perfect. Merging both view somehow. Or at least adding a
Oh,
column with timing, the console output directly. I think that could be interesting here.
interesting idea. So this is, and is this provided by Pipeline Graph View or by something else?
No pipeline graph view. It's just
Yep.
you just have to enable it in the
Ah, okay. Interesting.
values.
Yeah, so it's worth a so bring back the build time trend. So it was just the duration of the total job that was the thing that was interesting, that was most helpful for you.
We did use the per stage timing few times, but not much. But comparing the builds time with that view is already a lot. It's I think it answers most of the
Ah, because for me good to know. For me, usually the build time trend is not nearly as interesting, and because I tend to have long pipeline graphs like the plugin bill of materials, I I have to look elsewhere for build times. So, but okay, good, thank you.
and if we need detail on one build,
Yep.
we just click on it and we see the steps. So that's good.
Good.
Okay, so stay on Infra CI for the upcoming month. My proposal is that we update slightly the issue and we close the issue. We say, okay, it's okay. After we have asked for feature on the plugin developer explaining our change. Quickly, we have three new issue to add to the milestone. A request to archive a plugin. Not a lot or almost no action required for us. It's just tracking. Thanks, Stefan, for detecting, analyzing that the garbage collector on Azure that we enabled a few weeks ago is a bit too aggressive. Yes, it's killing builds while they are running, so there's something to be done here. And we had a question by Alex Brandes about releases in Artifactory that must probably come from a long past time. Yes, I will add it on the milestone. I that need an admin access and a double check with Daniel or someone who knows.
Yeah,
My guess
and
is
so
that we still have some artifacts being mirrored.
and yeah, okay, so that's my assumption here is that this is actually a brand new release of an Atlassian fork of the origin
Oh,
of the upstream object. And so we're probably somehow inadvertently bringing Atlassian forked objects into our repository. And I'm not sure that that's avoidable because there are some Atlassian objects that we really have to have, right? That we've intentionally cached.
Mhm.
So
The-
my worry is this may be coming from that same Atlassian public repository, and I'm not sure there's much we can do.
I'm not sure to understand how the renovate bot issue they have. I will ask Alex. I mean, you can point renovates for a given set of dependency to many different Maven repos. So I don't understand the backend problem.
Well, I think what Renovate's doing is asking Jenkins Artifactory, tell me the latest release, and Jenkins Artifactory is reporting this Atlassian fork is the latest release. And in terms of time, it's correct. It's just the source
Yeah,
of that release is Atlassian, not the Maven Central.
and I will say it tells the truth of the dependency that RenovaBot is aimed to track, or if you are sure that you had an exception on your POM XML to say, for this one, I don't want to use Jenkins repo, but Maven Central, then you should do the same for RenovaBot. So that's why I don't understand the real problem behind.
Okay,
But yeah, worth checking.
right.
And we have one last issue on the update center, which is minor. We need to finish archive Jenkins IO and then we'll look. The rest are delayed because we are only 2 pair of hands.
Okay.
That's all for me. Are there other kept in triage? Are there other things you want to add, discuss? Nope. Okay, so then I'm gonna stop the screen and stop the recording for people watching us. See you next week. Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.